This is a casting video from Forward Custom Design for a stifle brace. We have begun the casting process here by placing a cotton stockinette on the leg. We are now placing a yellow cut strip on the leg of the dog. This has been included in the casting kit. Mike has now opened up the plaster of Paris wrap. You submerge it in water and start to wrap on the leg. We typically start at the bottom of the leg, and we will begin by wrapping up the leg. You do not pull and put a lot of tension on the plaster wrap, just lay it on the leg, and we are overlapping the plaster wrap on top of itself, slowly working up. There may be extra plaster wrap. This can be trimmed if necessary. Once the entire leg has been wrapped with plaster, we will then begin by smoothing the plaster. You'll notice here that Mike is paying particular attention to the Achilles tendon and also marking the cut strip. It'll be important that you have a well-defined cut strip along the lateral aspect of the leg because this is where we're going to trim the cast later. We're also looking to place the leg in a neutral position, so we want the paw on the ground, marking it in the same position as the sound side leg. And it's also important to look at it from the posterior aspect, just to make sure that we are also in a neutral alignment. The plaster will begin to harden. As it hardens, it gives off a little bit of heat and you'll start to feel it becoming firmer. This is when we really focus on, again, identifying that Achilles tendon and the cut strip. And we can mark just proximal to the hock. As the plaster cast sets up, then we will still take out the casting knife. We now cut the cast off down the cut strip. It usually takes between 3 to 5 motions down the cut strip to have the plaster cut, and it may be necessary to have a pair of medical scissors to cut the plaster the rest of the way. The cast can be removed. We like to check at this point to make sure that the plaster is firm enough to have it be removed in one motion. If it is still soft, place the plaster wrap back onto the leg to let it harden for another minute. At this point, the cut strip can be removed. The plaster cast can be opened up. The cotton stockinette may come with the plaster cast, or you may have to trim it with scissors. After the stockinette is trimmed, the cast will be fully removed, and then it can be placed back together so the edges of the plaster are in contact with each other. This has been a casting video for a stifle brace from Forward Custom Design.